Okay, so I'm just gonna make some posts over on SocMed real quick. Won't take too long. I have the formats down pat anyway. So I just actually need to just launch them. Here we go. And then switch over. Hmm. Okay, we're good. So if anyone's dropping by, hey, been a while since I streamed drawing. I've been in kind of a slump recently. So, but yeah, um, Rowan from Twitter commissioned me to make, or to like, basically polish up their pre-existing design for their Saniwa's crest. And well, they've approved this sketch. Um, Here's their original one that they sent me here. They approved this one out of all the variations I made like 4. And they gave me permission to stream work on this, so here we are. So first things first is, let's see. So since it is for a Saniwa OC, of course, then I'll be heavily, more than usual, inspired by the design, the crest designs in Token Ranbu, because well, that's where it's for. So it would look a lot nicer if it's from there. And the interesting thing about Token Ranbu's crest designs is that it's not it maintains this sense of looking like it's a very traditional design, but in fact it's actually a bit deviating from traditional mon design, because the basic concept of, I mean, like, based off what I've seen in passing, is that for mon designs, what you want is that the designs must be primarily, or rather strictly, be made solely with the use of curves, circles, and straight lines. So like they're very geometrical and mathematical almost in a way. If you search up stuff about what they're called, the professional designers, Monsho Ueshi, I think is what they're called. You'll find a lot of articles about it. It's quite fascinating. And seeing the diagrams of like the sketches with all the overlaid circles and lines to make what seems to be a very simple to freehand design. It's so cool. Like, if you want to learn more, if you want to add more appreciation to like that sort of thing, I highly recommend looking it up in your spare time. So anyway, about Rowan's sketch first and foremost. So here's their initial sketch. They told me that I was allowed to make as much modifications as I thought was necessary for this. But looking at the design they sent me, I felt like I didn't actually have to do a whole lot. So what pretty much just happened here is that I pretty much just chewed up the design a bit more so that it's more in line with what the usual work for Token Ranbu and Japanese designs are, which just was mainly checking if there's any actual crest designs that use the azalea and kalanchoe flowers, and while referencing bird moths, there's quite a lot of it. I don't think any of them are specifically nightingales though. Like, a lot of it is like crows, sparrows, I think, and warblers, but not specifically a nightingale. But they're close enough in shape, so that's what I did here. And when it comes to numbering stuff, I actually kind of take that into account. Like, if, like, here they drew 8 kalanchoe. So like just to make sure, I asked them if, hey, does this have any particular significance? Should I keep them? And they told me no, not really. Like you can, I was allowed to add or remove any amount that I thought was needed, which was nice. So like I just kind of went for it, and I ended up with 7 because, well, the balance of 7 looks nice. Like I might add a few more on the left side, left and right side, just to keep everything symmetrical. But yeah, so far this is the basic design we ended up with. They wanted like a field, so I made this more bunched up form. There was one that was more uniform, kind of like how Gokotai's design looks. But yeah, this is what Rowan liked best. And then the curve on their sketch is a bit gentler, and um how shall I say it? It's a bit more open-ended in a way, but here for mine, I ended up making it a more crescent shape, like a more, like with more prominent tips, because I kind of like the flow of following the bird's wing direction, and it kind of gives like this fisheye view to the meadow below. Like it hopefully it'll make sense once I put everything together a bit more. So let's let me just finish this kalanchoe so I can just start pasting it over real quick. Kind of out of practice because I haven't done any design work in weeks. Not that I didn't want to, I just kind of like didn't have the motivation, which sucks because I like making stuff, but sometimes my brain just isn't having any of that, so I just kind of have to call it quits and accept that sometimes I won't be able to get to do stuff. It's kind of heartbreaking, but it's better to accept it as fast as possible so that I could get back to it sooner as well, because like the faster I accept it, the faster I'll just rest and give myself time to recharge. Oops. Where is this? There we go. That should be fairly even. Let's just kind of narrow it down a bit. Okay, so as I was saying about Tokuranbu's designs, I like how they're able to keep this sense of having a traditional look to them, but when I inspect them, they're a bit more modern in their approach. Like there's a lot of elements in some of them which are like very fine curves and stuff that it is of course still possible to make them with the technique I mentioned before. Oh shit, this one didn't connect. It's oh come on, it's doing that thing again. Hang on, let me just. Shit. For some reason, this tool is kind of finicky. Like it doesn't always connect or like work, and I honestly can't determine what it wants me to fix. So it's kind of annoying, and sometimes I just have to put up with stuff acting really off. Maybe if I overlap this. Did that work? Kind of. I don't know what it wants. Let me see if switching the corners will help. Did that work? Not quite. God damn it. Great, I'm gonna spend like several minutes working on this, am I? Hello? Come on. This stinks. I guess we'll have to like live with this gap here. I can manage, but it just sucks because it's. I would like if everything is conjoined properly as a single shape, but apparently I can't have that right now. So I'll just have to do my best and overlap them as best I can, so that they still give a clean appearance. Okay, I think this one works. Just nudge everything a little bit more to the center. There we go. Okay. That's one petal of this calendula down. Jesus Christ. Then just let's just duplicate it like this. Ever since I learned that there's this option to keep the original thing you're transforming, making symmetrical stuff just got so much easier. Like, yeah, there's of course okay, these are a bit too narrow. There's symmetrical rulers built into CSP as it is, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to work best when working with vectors and pen stuff. So I I mean, like, maybe it's also just because I haven't learned how the tools behave specifically in CSP. But yeah, like I can learn it like another time, but not right now. Okay, that should be quick enough. Oh. Okay, that's better. Then let's add the circle up top. Whoops, too big. Yeah, we'll go with this size. Then let's nudge everything a little bit closer to each other. A good example of what I think is one of Tokenranbo's designs that are like I mean, like, in terms of the kamon, that looks like a traditional piece but isn't quite exactly that, is I guess it'd be Yamabushi's, because his design pretty much features. I don't think I've seen a conch shell on like actual traditional mon, so it's not exactly made with traditional elements, and the way it's drawn, you can in fact make it with like the usual techniques, but it would be needlessly complicated. Like I think if it was a traditional design, it would probably be a bit more simplified. Like like I'm just speaking out of my own observations of the stuff I've read and observed. So I may not be necessarily correct. So like if I'm not, then that's fine. Like I don't claim to be an expert on these things, not by a long shot. Like I just have an interest in the design work. Okay, so let's name this one control base, then copy it, because this one's gonna be the one we place over here. Okay, so one of the things I'll probably be adjusting along the way here, like I don't know if we'll get that far, but it'll be the size of this biggest kalanchoe compared to the azalea that the bird is holding. Because I'm not sure whether it would look better with the kalanchoe as the biggest element or the azalea, but then I think I might run into the risk of the azalea being too big for the bird. Like it might look awkward, so we'll have to see. I mean, like a nightingale is not a very big bird in the first place, but you know, aesthetics are subjective. I mean, of course, I'll be consulting with Rowan once I feel like I've made enough progress to show them. But for now, we're gonna do work based off my artist's instinct. It's not just Kamon that have the, what do you call this? It's not just Japanese crests, of course, that have this like specific um, sense of symmetry and geometry to their works. Not, of course, not like even in modern design, that's still very much an appealing choice for creation. However, it's like usually the design documents can be a bit like hard to find. Like you could find them for like stuff like Pepsi and Coke and like the reasonings for like the colors and like the whole drafts they had, but they can be a bit tricky to find, or if you're unlucky they could be paywalled, which is fair because it's like corporate assets and the like. But so in that regard, the design work for Camon is the easiest to access to use as reference for that sort of thing. I mean, Western coat of arms does have like that similar vibe, but they do include a lot of free form elements there as well, like for the plants, the horses, whatever symbols they choose to represent their family with. So it's a little inconsistent, like depending on where you look. I mean, maybe I'm also just not looking hard enough, but you know, preferences. I think it's also why I adore Arknight's faction designs, because they're all also quite symmetrical. Oh, shit. Mhm. Dang it. Let's exclude this one, like the big one. This should be on a different layer, so I can easily manipulate the side ones, since this one's just gonna be in the center the entire time anyway. There we go. Then I can freely duplicate this one without disturbing that one. Like for now, I'm just gonna be following the sketch, and then I'll be making minute adjustments along the way, because a lot of the stuff that doesn't become apparent until you've actually lined it like this, which is weird because I try my best to keep the designs as clean as I can in the sketches, because apart from it makes it easier to work on it like this, it's also because um, doing it this way means that it's easier for the client to interpret, because like not every client is artistically inclined as well. I mean, like these days it's not unheard of for artists to commission of each other, of course. But there's still going to be clients that commission others because they're unable to make that thing for themselves, which is fine. I mean, like I think that's the point of offering commissions too, like to be able to assist those who can't perform as well in that certain field that you think you're good at and are offering services in. Let me just. Okay, so these are just kind of like petally, seedy things. Because I feel like, because I tried to put flowers on this side, and I felt like even though I could definitely shrink copies of this down to size to fill these gaps in, I felt like it made the design too cluttered. So I'm going for like simple circles instead. I mean, like maybe if the client asks me to do the other thing, then I will, but oh wait, I saw the chat, like thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I'll be doing my best to wrestle the thing as best I can. But just like a whole ass struggle bus here. No, my layout messed up. No. I wish like I don't actually have like YouTube Studio open right now, so I have to open OBS to see the chat, which kind of sucks. But also like I don't like having the YouTube tab open. It kind of eats too much RAM anyway. So let's see. Let's just add these little circles. Like I think only this part has to be like an ovally thing. I mean, like if what was moving in the back? I saw something move. Like let's. Ugh. Shit. Okay, this one's a little bit too big, so let's shrink it up a bit. Hello. There we go. I don't have my hotkeys memorized anymore because yeah, it's been weeks since I actually used them. Whoops. But we'll get by. We'll get by. Then I suppose I can cut this part out now. Split this here, split this there, grab this part and delete it out of existence. There. And let's see. Where's okay, let's just group these together. Then we'll put in a fill just to get things started. Oops, my bad. There we go. Then let's put. Or we can do this first. Here's another thing I can just actually do. Like, I think most people get the impression that everything's done in transparent lines now. A lot of it is just actually like white fill that I just turn transparent later on because I'm lazy. I won't cut these parts just yet because things are still fine, or still progress. So if I cut them now, it'll be a pain to fix them if in case I have to move elements later on, which I'm pretty sure I will have to do. So, shit. Then just add a stroke so there's a bit of a border. Like, this is a very preferential thing. I've had some clients not like how this looks, like here like this. So I've had clients that don't like this look, like the one where there's gaps in between. They would prefer it look like this instead, which is fine. Like, it's a choice, and I'm making this for them. But if I'm the one making it, usually I keep it as this as first. But I usually also just show a version without the stroke anyway, because you know. When it comes to commissions, I believe that you have to find a good balance between working on keeping what your style is as well as catering to what the client wants, because in the end you're not the one using the stuff you make for them. It's gonna be them, and they paid you for it. So oh crap, this whole time I didn't have my background music playing. That stinks. My god, I've been live for nearly half an hour and there hasn't been, like, the BGM just has been paused this whole time. That's stupid. Whoops. So if I turn the background white real quick, easier to view. Yep, see. Got a good chunk going. Don't mind my Discord pinging. I usually work with a background like this, a sort of bluish, tealish gray, because it's easier on my eyes. Well, I mean, like, I don't think I have to explain this much to everyone. Like, yeah, white is white, it's plain and stuff, but gives me bad eye strain, you guys. This, like, it doesn't really affect this type of commission anyway, since it's black and white most times. Sometimes I've gotten requests for designs that are meant to be colored, but I still work on those black first and fill in colors later. It's just easier to work because that way I'm able to see the balance of everything better, because if a certain feature is drawn with a color that's lighter than the rest, then it could come off as where did this come from? And I accidentally made a layer that isn't vector, which is bad because it'll pixelate later on if I try to mix it. I was supposed to mention something else, like specifically about Token Ranbu's crests, but the thought has left the building right now. Comes back, but then I'll entertain it. If not, then them's the breaks. I did not do that evenly. Here is have to fix the line width real quick. Should simplify this first. Yeah, that's better. I could... What's an easier way to do this? Because the thing with this is there's a lot of different ways I can work on it, but I'm never sure which one's the easiest for any situation. I guess we can thicken it up first, then just narrow it down later. It would probably be easier. Like that. Sort of. Adjust these bits as well. Two, maybe. Let's get rid of this picture real quick. Yeah, I think that'll be okay for now, because I think I might either thicken or narrow the main circle out, or maybe I might add a thin circle outside, because I've seen it done with heathens and I thought like the kind of ripply effect it gave was pretty cool. And I think that might work with this one, since we've got a fish eye effect going on. Okay, now we're onto more of the complicated parts. I could probably at least work on the part of the bird today. Let's see. Where do I start with this one? Let me just label my folders while my brain figures out where to start. Group everything. This is probably the main commission type that I work on, where I actually label most of my layers. Other than that, I just don't. It's just pick a god and pray and just alt-clicking the colors to get to the layer I want to be on. New folder for the birdie. Okay, this one shouldn't take me too long, since freehanding just it can go really fast. Like, I'll show you guys right now. Like, I can just do it super rough like this, then I just come back and clean it up later on. Ah, forgot to turn off the snapping. Let's... There we go. So like the vague blobby shape is done, so now all I have to do is adjust the sharpness of each curve until it matches the silhouette I want to make. I wish I could explain like like my thought processes for these, but honestly it's kind of unexplainable and just the result of my own practice over several years, on top of the advice given to me by a professor when I used to be in design school, because he did like vector stuff for a newspaper and magazines, I think, at the time, so he had a lot of advice on professional workflow and the like. I mean, like, I've mentioned this before, I'm not really looking to be in the industry for this sort of thing. I'm just a hobbyist. I want to just draw whatever I want to do without old bogeys telling me, no, you can't do that, it's not marketable. I just want to do what I want. But yeah, the things he did teach us were quite valuable, and I'm always thankful for him, because learning having an eye for efficiency meant that adjusting down the line was actually quite easy compared to if I was just throwing my lines everywhere and anywhere. Then we'll just add like a white cut here, because wait, let me show you. I could either do it a solid beak like this, or I could add well, there's a nightingale and a Japanese depiction of one, so I can kind of mimic the usual shapes they go for it with that one. Or I could make the beaks like these, like split. Like I'll have to see which one works best, because this is a kind of like stout e-bird, but like they have like a sort of longish, narrowish beak. So we'll see. We'll just fix that up as we go. The nice thing about vectors is you can always adjust it later on. That is if you remember to work on vector layers anyway, because if you don't, then well, you're shit out of luck, man. I guess this one. A lot of the things I learned from that professor is how to make curves that use less points, as the least amount of points as possible, because you think like, well, it doesn't really matter, because when this thing is presented to the client, they're not gonna see how many points I used for it, which is true, but depending on how good you are with manipulating them, it also gets kind of obvious how many, like, whether you use too much or too much for a certain design, because the curves don't look as smooth as they could be, which if you use less curves, then that would be as much of a problem, because everything moves together, and if you have a lot of points, then you have to adjust them one by one, which you could, but it's a pain and just wastes so much time. And it, like, working with less points just honestly takes practice anyway. Like, everyone starts up using so many points, like, just for example, this line, like from here to this side, I only used 3 points, but I remember if I was younger, I would have added so much more in the middle, because I would have been worried like, oh, I don't know how to make it curve that much without little anchors. Like, you can, like, you just have to pull these bits and make them your bitch. Okay, so that's the basic body down. Now I'll work on this wing, and then I can actually just kind of copy paste it to the other side and like squish this side a little bit. The problem here is I don't know whether it look good segmented into little feathers, like which one's a good example? Actually, the one from earlier. Here, this one. I'm not sure if I should do it like little individual feathers like this, or if I should make it one chunk, kind of like, I don't think I have an example, but like, yeah. So the only way to find out which one works is to just go for it. So we'll make a new layer, because this is a wing, and we'll be copy pasting this later if it turns out okay. So for now, I'm going to make one big section here. I have a love-hate relationship with like adding bird motifs into crests, because like they're super pretty and awesome, and I'm always proud of these ones. But they're also such a god damn it, see, like I forgot to do a vector layer on that, so I can't move the points anymore. Start over. It's an easy shape anyway. But anyway, as I was saying, like, I have a love-hate relationship with bird motifs and crests, because they're very cool. I'm always proud of them when I make them, but they take forever to get right. Like, there's always like a part that seems a little too lumpy in the wrong spot. But then if you move that spot, the rest of the stuff moves, and then it starts to feel imbalanced. Then if it's too balanced, it doesn't look much like a bird. But then if it's unbalanced, then that's just not sexy. Actually, like, looking at the... Wait, do I have my little tab on? Okay, I do. Let's make it a little bigger. So... a little bigger. There we go. Looking at the tab, I think we'll go with a solid shape. and then segment the little feathers. Because I think since it's such a simple bird shape, I shouldn't overcomplicate the wings too much. I mean, like, I could, but we have to like keep our priorities straight. I can't just do everything just because I want to. I just fiddle with this until like the curvature is something I'm happy with. In terms of the most insane looking token rainbow crest I've seen, I would still probably immediately vote for Juzumaru's, because the details on that are insane. Like, those seem a little bit too ridiculous for me for like a traditional design, because like the little pinpoints and stuff, those don't seem realistic to be able to be put on like clothing, because like mon are applied onto clothing for identification, you know? Then it's weird how that feels more ridiculous to me than Onimaru's, and Onimaru's is like just a beast. It's awesome, but it's also like intimidating to draw. I mean, like the fact that it's intimidating means it's a good design, because I think it's appropriate for Onimaru's design crest to look intimidating. But God forbid I have to use that for anything, because I don't think someone's made a for common use redraw of that, because on Nico Nico a lot of artists have provided some of the sword crests redrawn into bigger sizes and vectors, so it'll be super easy to... Should I... No. So some of them have been redrawn for free use, but others have also not been, and I think Onimaru is part of the one where people haven't tackled it yet, which for good reason, because that's a pain in the ass, man. Okay, here we're gonna run to one of my weak points. Like, I never know how to properly segment feathers. Like, I can't tell if this part's gonna be too fat looking or just right. Actually, it might be too fat. Let's also make... Oops. I'm gonna make a guideline. So I have like a clean curve to follow for the edges on the bottom. Let's make it orange. And just like that, I already have some adjustments to make. Sometimes I think to myself, well, you don't have to clean that part up yet since you're still adjusting literally everything else. It's like it alters my perception of what already looks good or not if I don't go as clean as I can from the get-go. Like, it's just kind of a redundant thing to not do it as soon as I spot it. And I'm like, there's no rush to getting this done after all. So I can just take my time going slowly. Thinking if these ones should be like so... Okay, Let's try that. Let's make it a little softer on the corners. Like this one. Like this one's a bit appealing. This one's quite appealing. So, oops. I also said that, like, it's funny how I have this whole list of personal press designs I wanted to work on, but I haven't touched it at all. I'm just so bad at making stuff for myself. Like, there's several OCs, like both Asian coded and otherwise, that could use like a design, but I just haven't gotten to it. And on top of that, with my doc OC, I kind of want to make him one now too, because if you guys remember, one of my old commissions, like one of the first ones, was for Shiori's doc OC, which I'm pretty proud of the concepts I came up with that one, honestly. So I want to see if I can come up with anything just as nice for myself. Honestly, because I'm trying to please myself. That's probably not gonna happen. Probably never gonna be happy with whatever it is I come up with. Which is just like the sad tragedy of being a creator, I suppose. This might be a bit too chunky. I'm always on the lookout for like new design, emblem designs I can reference off to. That's why I really encourage for people commissioning me to, if there's a specific game they have that has emblems and they really like the look of that, like send me some samples of it so I could try and model what I make for them along the lines of their already favorite series. Because, you know, it's like a very easy step for me. Well, not very easy, but it's like, as long it's a very good foundation. Because my end goal for working on commissions really is just to please the person that came up to me and like trusted me to like do good work for them. So I try my best to figure out how I can suit their tastes wherever I can. Because like, admittedly, some people aren't the best at articulating what they want done, and it can be a bit frustrating. Like, not gonna name names, but there were like a few clients I had in the last batch that were kind of like that, on top of being kind of slow with replies, which just added to the frustration. Like, of course I didn't like tell them that, because that would just be rude, but that's how I felt. Some people are a little difficult to work with because they aren't the best at expressing what kind of visuals they want, and like that's okay. Like, it can't be helped. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses. I'm bad with like writing and stuff, but when it comes to visuals, I think I'm pretty good at it. See, like, if you see from the smaller view in the corner, this part looks okay, but from afar it like the bend looks off. So I'm gonna have to like fiddle with that until it stops looking off. Kind of. Maybe let's tuck this in a little bit. I hope that working on stuff for other people will get my muse working, so I can make some stuff for myself as well. Because of the back-to-back of Who is Real rerun and the Invitation to Wine event, I have like quite a few ideas of how I want to draw Buyo. Like I just brain rots bad, you guys. Super bad. But yeah, like I have something I want to draw of him. Like it's not like a super high concept thing, but it is a concept, that's for sure. So I'm hoping I'll have the energy to like work on it so I can like show it to people. Because you know, like making things for yourself is fine and dandy, but if you're able to make something that you can appreciate alongside other people, that's awesome. That's great. But this communication, my guys. Okay, I think this is clean enough for now, so let me... Oh wait, no. This one has to follow the curvature of the bird's body, because just to give the illusion of it being connected but not quite. So we'll extend it a little bit. I had a bit of ramen earlier, and now I'm honestly kind of sleepy. But it's like I didn't want to stream without having eaten yet, because I'll be just way too distracted anyway. I mean, more than I usually am. Just very scatterbrained in general. Does that mesh well? This part needs a bit of work. I might have to add a point to this. It's one of those few times you want an extra point on a curve, just to get like that subtle swooshy vibe to it. I want to draw him so badly. I mean, like, I've drawn him a bunch of times. I've drawn Uyu a bunch of times as it is, but it's like, this isn't enough. Must be good, better than this. Like, it'll probably be full body. Like, I think the basic goal of it is to like outdo that one really old Siegfried drawing I made for the Siegfried event. But like, I want to outdo that somehow. Like, I don't know how well that would go, because that's still, in my opinion, one of my best works ever. Which is funny because I made it on a Potato laptop that had like 2 gigs of RAM and screamed every time I had more than 6 layers open. But yeah, it turned out great, and that's kind of my benchmark for like future works. Like, it has to be at least as sort of similar level of greatness as that one, which I think I kind of fail most times. But I mean, like, I've gotten better with drawing over the years, that's for sure. But I have very high standards for myself. Let's call this drag this over here. Boy. Okay, maybe I don't have to actually modify it that much. Can I perhaps be a little sneaky and get away with murder? For legal reasons, I do not commit a murder. Then let's just bend this part to mesh with the rest of the body. Suddenly there's a very cold breeze here. We've been having a lot of like thunderstorms lately. I don't know if there's an actual typhoon right now, but yeah, it's a bit like temperature's been fluctuating again, making my stomach hurt. But it's also like very comfortable to like just do nothing and sleep all day. I say that as if I don't just like sleep 18 hours a day on a regular as it is. Should I sharpen this part? Maybe I should. Let's... bend this a little bit. What the heck? Hang on. Did I accidentally copied the left wing completely. Just nudge the birdie a little bit. Let's spin it back to normal. I guess I'll fill this in and see how I like it with the colors, or like fill, not just colors. It's all just black anyway. Okay. Turn the sketch layer off for a bit. I guess I'll have to add some like white detailing to the bird. It looks a bit too chunky right now. It looks nice. I'm quite happy with the direction so far. Maybe I will actually have to split the top parts after all. Can you guys hear the rain? I hope not. Okay. Audio levels say you shouldn't be able to hear the rain, but it's starting to pour again, so if stuff starts crunching in audio, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so for now we're good. Let's also just add in the azalea. It's quite interesting to me which flowers are picked for use in crests more often than the rest, because there's the chrysanthemums, the hydrangeas, the camellias, poppy. I think one of them is called a poppy. Lilies. Well, no, not lilies. Well, there's the sakura. Like those ones are very common with like traditional mon, but azaleas and kalanchoe aren't. So I actually kind of had to wing it with how to portray them in a crest design, because I didn't want to overcomplicate design on this, because if I did, then all of the focus would go too much to that one spot, and like they're kind of small, like there maybe this would be like 20-ish% of the whole design, and like so if that part gets way too cluttered, then the rest of the area is gonna be a bit too bare, like it's gonna be a bit imbalanced, so I don't want that. Let's see, where's my azalea references? There we go. It's interesting how like most flowers kind of all like look very much the same, with the exception of like the tones of like the shades of color they have and how many stamens they have. It's fascinating because like these kind of just look like hibiscus to me. I almost forgot what the English term for hibiscus is, because locally it's called gumamela, and like I think some of you might be familiar with the term, but it's a very local term in any case. So yeah, like my thought process for this is just kind of draw gumamela, like it'll work out. Probably won't. Okay, I have to resketch this real quick. So like I just need to figure out which petals are on top. Hang on, I gotta close my windows. It's getting in my room. How long has my sprite been stuck on top? Like that sucks. It keeps getting stuck at times. I don't really know why. Like it kind of like stops tracking. It's not as if my mic disconnects or anything. Very strange. Okay, so this one's on top, I think. Then it's like this. Okay, we'll draw the stamen later. Like, what's important is to get the whole flower petal arrangement down pat first. We're gonna go with that. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get away with just copy pasting a single petal. Like most times I can, sometimes I can't. So we're gonna see which one it is for this time around. god, it's suddenly pouring super loud right now. I can't hear my background music anymore. Flowers are a bit easier to draw than birds. Because yeah, like I mentioned, for the most part you can get away with just drawing a single petal than arranging them in like a radius. So, in some cases you'll still have to tweak it a little bit, but it works out. A little bit. Kind of. I guess I guess that kind of works. Jesus, it's been storming outside. That's kind of concerning. I think bird motifs aside, the hardest thing I've had to make was that kind of Art Deco style one. The one that kind of looks like a coat of arms, sort of, but also like a banner. I think that one was the hardest, if only because... Hang on. Excuse me. I think that one was the hardest because of just how much math it took. Like, I had to math like the angle increments for that one because, well, if I didn't, then I wouldn't know how many times to repeat the lines for it to be even. And I could have attempted doing it, but it would have taken longer anyway to do that and like get it looking nice. But god, I remember working on that for like several days on end. Like I would work on the top, like I would put the rays in, and I would be like suckered out from having to like compute, okay, do everything in 15s and then making sure that everything's okay, nothing's clipping or whatever. So then I would set it down, and the next day I would work on the bottom, which had different angle increments. Like god, I mean, I'm very proud of that one, but I'm glad that was a commercial use piece, because man, if it wasn't, I would have charged extra for that. I mean, like, to be fair, the first one was a test batch, so I wasn't really charging extra yet because I was still getting a feel of like what kind of expectations people had for like that sort of thing. Oops. And as it turns out, I'm quite happy that people have a lot of like ideas they want to see done as a crest, and I was more than happy to attempt it. These are just very, very fun, like making identifying symbols for either real people or like their characters or maybe even a persona. Very, very fun. I distinguish VTubers from regular OCs because like you can make like a shitty OC, but it's like they're not supposed to be like a mascot or a representative of you in a way, right? While if you make a VTuber, that's basically it's what it is. It's a persona. Like it's a representation of you that isn't quite you in real life. So okay. Should I this time here? Okay, I guess I can start trimming these so that's easier to look at too. Part's a little bit too big. Let's group this together. Whoops. Whew. Close lightning strike just now. Add a layer. Let's make a layer for the stamens. Stamens? Stamens. Done. Just get the lines set before I change the line width of them. Okay, let's make these finer. Yep. Oops. There, then add a strokeless one so it pops out from the rest. Let's just mask this part real quick. Let's turn off the grid real quick so we can see it without any obstructions. Yeah, now I kind of have an issue of I don't like how empty these spaces are. Wait, can you guys even see? No, you can't. You guys can't see my cursor, and it would probably mess up my recording if I change it now. But the space in between the wings and like the bottom of the edge of the meadow, it's a little too empty for my liking. Like, let's see if I can size up the bird, like just as a quick fix, because it may work, it may not work. I feel like it's not going to. Just fine. Like, stuff like this isn't like an instant fix after all. Kind of annoying though. Okay, let's copy these two, make one that's merged, then hide this one. Okay, there we go. We're gonna try and stretch everything and see if that changes anything. I also have the option of like just making this black part thicker, but I don't know if that would actually work. Like, I can't just keep randomly trying stuff. Like, I have to be smart about it so I don't waste energy. But apart from that, this was pretty good progress, honestly. Wait, let me just redo this one. Like, I usually kind of get distracted whenever I make these. Like, this is a fairly simple one with not a lot of super complex elements. But still, the point is I got like the first iteration done, which I'm super happy about. So, I have been streaming for how long? I have been streaming for almost an hour and a half, which is pretty cool. Like, my attention span that lasted that long, that's something. So, I think I'll stop here for today. Like, I'm gonna put this down a little bit. Maybe I'll work on this later in the evening. I don't know if I'll stream again, because I think that's just gonna involve me just staring at the screen for like 2 hours while like tapping the directional arrows left and right a few times the entire time. So that's probably not gonna be interesting, and I don't really have much other topics to talk about. Like, we'll see. So yeah, thank you so much for dropping by. If you're watching this as a DVR, thank you so much for watching. Like, I hope some of the ramblings I did earlier were insightful in a way, or like just got you interested in like making these stuff, because as much as I offer them as commissions, I highly encourage everyone to try making this for themselves. It's so much fun. It's kind of like an introspective experience as well, especially if you make it for your own OCs. So I will try to be streaming other stuff as well. Like, I'll try to be streaming bigger illustrations again soon. Like, those ones I probably won't be talking. Like, maybe I'll have mic on, but I won't really have topics to ramble on about like I did earlier. And I'll probably be streaming some art nights on here. Like, I have like a test run of integrated strategies on the channel right now. Like, there's one over there if you're interested in how that stuff will look like. I was actually thinking of streaming Invitation to Wine, but that was also just kind of gonna be me squealing and like grumbling and doing a lot of practice runs. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe some contingency contract, or maybe more IS, because like I think the new monthly squad should be rolling in later. Yeah, so if I stream later, it'll probably be that. I'll probably be trying the new monthly squad. That's gonna be fun. So yeah, thank you again so much if you guys dropped by. As usual, I mean, like, you guys already know who I am. This is Nona, Kh'nvinien. Bye bye. Bye bye. Oh, hi. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for popping by. Then I didn't notice you guys. Oh my god, I'm a little embarrassed now. But yeah, thank you so much. I had quite a lot of fun just like sitting here and like talking. And if you guys like were listening, then that's pretty cool too. So I'll be signing off now. Thank you so much for dropping by again. See you later. Bye bye. Bye bye.